Hello, and welcome to the latest episode of the Velvet Revolution with myself, Ben Rice, and my co host, Dave Noble. How are you doing today, Dave?
I'm doing good, thank you, Ben. You've mastered the intro, I feel.
Yeah, it's definitely hit a pattern, hasn't it?
Yeah, you're good at it. I feel like you could be a TV presenter now.
Yeah,
Burnt your stripes.
it's the
Yeah.
next step.
What would you present if you could?
What would I present? It's a very good question.
Yeah, it's a good one, isn't it? Start with that today. What would you present
Um,
if you was a TV presenter?
I would present.
I know what I'd like to. I just thought of it. I've never thought of it before, ever. Why would I?
Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to do some sort of chat show. I'd love to sort of sit there and talk to people, but
Like,
um,
I won't say any household names, but
yeah,
like, but
uh,
those sort of
yeah, those sort of, the
Friday
sort of
night
Friday
kind of.
night.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you remember Tier 5 Friday? Obviously, of course you do.
yes, I do. Yeah,
I used to love that.
yeah.
That was a winner, that one.
Oh, the other one would be Great Pottery Throwdown. I do love that show.
You've mentioned that before.
Yeah, it's one of my faves.
Okay. I feel like I'd like do news at 10
Mm,
or something like that. I don't think,
that'd
is
be
that too late? That's a bit late, isn't it? What, news at 10?
what because you'd be asleep or
Well, yeah, for me, obviously that'd be a bit late, but for this general population, does anyone actually watch that stuff? Or is it just some old duddy fuddy duddy? He's in his armchair. He's had too many brandies. He's sort of like dribbling, and his wife's sitting there knitting.
I don't know what the viewing figures are for News at 10 now.
Uh, I just feel like I could do a nice little spin on it.
Yeah,
Yeah, like instead of it all being doom and gloom and bullshit. I'm not saying all the news is bullshit, but you know what I mean. Just make it a little bit more colourful.
yeah. Okay.
Um, so let me do a check-in. Let me do a check-in. But yeah, I was just complimenting your ability to do a good introduction.
Thanks, because I always feel like it needs more. I always
Yeah.
think that maybe I need to, I don't know.
What more could you add? What else needs to be in there?
I wonder sometimes whether we need to describe what we're doing if someone's just tuned in and this is like their first ever episode.
Well, go on then.
Well,
Try it out
uh,
now. Do it. Go on. What would you add?
um, uh,
What are
well,
we?
what are we? We are,
No one's
uh,
ever, if someone's just landed on this by accident,
yep. And this is their first ever show. What do? We explore emotions and character traits.
you're not quite sure, are
You
you?
know, this is. I probably need to be
Dude.
surer than this. It's an encyclopedia of emotions and character traits. It's see, I don't like that bit as much. I think I need to think about that.
Yeah, you're a head teacher, man.
Yeah, yeah,
You need to set some tasks here and
yeah.
report back. I wouldn't be able to possibly, I wouldn't do us any favors, I don't think. I think I'll just, yeah, yeah. I'll leave it to you. That's why I like you doing it.
Okay, because it puts the pressure on me.
Well, no, it's because you're good at it.
Okay.
And you've got a good, very calming, um, what's the word I'm looking for? Just a really good, solid frequency, tonal vibration that comes out of your, out of your mush.
At my head bone.
Yeah, and it's solid, and it's a good entree to what's about to follow, which is my drivel. So let me do a quick check-in, right? So, um, how am I feeling? Let me just think about this. How am I feeling? I'm feeling in good spirits. I do feel in good spirits. I feel really positive. I had a really, really heartwarming, really beautiful, deep, meaningful conversation with my beloved bro.
Hmm.
um, over, well, it was yesterday. It's a really, really beautiful, good conversation. Won't go into specifics, but it was just a really nice conversation. He lives a long, long way away.
Hmm.
Um, don't know if anyone would relate to this. I've spoken to a few people who can because they've got family members or beloved people that are dotted around in various places. We've not got the traditional Coronation Street setup where we're all living on the same road kind of thing, which is great for some people. It's really beautiful, or living in the same village. But that's not what it is for me and my brother. Like he's on the other, literally on the other side of the planet, planet Earth. And and then my mum's somewhere else and my dad's somewhere else, and we're all sort of separate. So we rely on, I always get on one about tech,
Hmm.
but there is some good stuff, and that's that it keeps us all together, as best it can be. And I always endeavor to see people in person over that, but sometimes you can't. Anyway, it was a really lovely conversation. And yeah, came away feeling really nourished from it. As I always do when I have those sort of conversations with anyone. But it's more meaningful because it's my brother.
Nice.
So that's kind of where I'm at. And I feel really uplifted by that. So I guess I would encourage anyone if you've not had, if you've not, if you, if that feels barren to you, what I'm saying, maybe explore it.
Mm.
Maybe. Or maybe don't.
Yeah.
Do what the fuck you want. I don't give a shit. I know what it's done for me. It's really uplifting. Um, but other than that, I've been last night. I love the Beatles. I'm enamored by the Beatles. I think I always was. I think I shared this before. I used to have that big poster. I think I got it from Camden. I think I got it. I think I might have even bought it on my 18th birthday in
Okay.
Camden, where I was sitting down at the locks, smoking some funny smelling cigarettes.
Hmm.
Um, on my 18th birthday. I think I did buy that poster and I put it up on my wall along with a load of other posters. And I don't know, I feel really enamored by the Beatles. And I watched the film that I'm forgetting his name. He's an American director, Martin something Hogg or something, is it? He shot it back in it's 1970s basically. The rooftop.
Yeah, yeah. Let it be. Yeah.
Yeah, Leopard. Yeah. I watched that again. I've watched it a couple of times. I watched it again last night. I don't know why. I just felt like I wanted to watch it, and I watched it. I'm so like in awe of like watching that process and watching them interact, which I learned was actually the beginning of the end from. They literally George left after that, and they all fell
Mm.
apart. But they looked like they were really. You could tell there's a bit of friction going on. You could tell that. But John and Ringo look like they're having a time of their life.
Have you watched the full thing? The whole Get Back
Yeah.
documentary? The
Yeah,
whole
yeah,
nine
yeah.
hours?
Yeah, with by Peter Jackson, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah.
incredible. Like
Yeah.
I'd actually fallen out of love with them, and watching that made me fall back in love with them completely.
Mm. Yeah.
It's just an incredible piece of footage. I don't, I'm sure obviously there's a big skill to Peter Jackson putting it all together, but I mean, I literally could have just been watching a camera on them for
Mm.
12 hours, which is pretty much what it is. But
Mm.
it's just incredible watching the dynamic between them.
Yeah, I've got that as well. I'll pull that out when I feel I want to dive into their world. And it's the time as well, the era, like of
Yeah.
and you could see what I loved about it was the old bill and the British public. So like it's down at Soho, isn't it? It's down
Yeah.
at the Apple Corp. The
Yeah.
original British made, original Apple Corp, made in UK, and um and um and it's really interesting to see. They've got all these like stiffs, everyone's just like, oh, yes, I mean, there's a place for this kind of thing. I mean, oh God, I mean, it's just interrupting our business for Christ's sake. It's that kind of thing. It's like, shut
Mm.
the fuck up, mate, and just drop your shoulders and chill the fuck out. Sorry. But like, it's just really interesting to see how, like the police, they look pretty young and ill-equipped to deal with the situation. You could tell they just wanted to kick their helmets off, get out of their uniforms, and get on that roof and have a party. You could tell they were itching to do it, but they couldn't. And their superior came along and tried to deal with it, and they didn't. They got shut down, man. They didn't have no chance. And I just feel that it was quite interesting because it was kind of like a little mini revolution that day. They just went up to the rooftop and said, "This is what everyone needs right now. Let's
Yeah.
make everyone a bit happy. Just for today, on this grim, cold, miserable British day." Anyway, it inspired me. It always does. I watch stuff like it, it really inspires me. And I came into this room, cranked up an amp, pulled out my Epiphone. There are other guitars, but I choose the Epiphone, and
Okay.
cranked in some pedals and went on a bit of a 1970s trip.
Okay. A musical extravaganza.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, so I'm in good mood, man, because of everything I just shared. So over to you, Mr. Rice. How are you today?
Yeah, yeah, it feels quite similar, really. We're very,
Oh,
very
amazing.
similar sort of journey over the past couple of days. My Lottie, my daughter, is up at university in the north, so I went up to see her on Saturday uh, in Sheffield, and then we drove from Sheffield to Manchester, and we went to see Gillian Welsh and Dave Rawlings, who are country bluegrass. And I go and see a lot of music. I go to a lot of gigs, and I think it's top 10. They were that good.
Mm.
They were incredible, absolutely incredible. Um, I've
And
never
let's just be
seen.
clear. Let's just be clear, quickly. Sorry to interrupt. You wasn't high. You
Wasn't
wasn't
high.
inebriated. It was
No,
just pure present.
yeah.
I'm
I
I'm
mean, the
right here,
venue,
right now.
the energy in the venue was incredible. Like the audience reaction to her and him was really really intense and beautiful and really positive. And they were just like, I've never seen anyone play guitar quite like that live. I mean, it was just incredible.
Who
It was
who 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 was playing guitar?
Dave Rawlings
Okay.
is the guitar. Well, they both, she was playing rhythm guitar and he was sort of playing, he was picking over the top, that sort of really intense. It's almost like banjo almost, but the way he was playing and just, yeah, it was just incredible the way he was playing guitar. And I mean, yeah, I've seen lots and lots of musicians live, and I just thought they were just outstanding, the two of them.
I'm being a bit green here. British.
American,
Okay,
American.
American, right?
Yeah, they're very. When Oh Brother Where Art Thou came out, the Coen Brothers film with George
Mm-hmm.
Clooney in, and they were that whole bluegrass movement that sort
Mm-hmm.
of started on the back. They were very much in that. They got quite a lot. They were played a lot in the gigs and stuff around that. Um, but yeah, I mean, I would say she's in her 50s, and they sort of they release maybe an album every 3 4 years, 4 or 5 years. They take their time. They don't seem to sort of be that pressurized or bothered about stuff. They just do what they do, and they're just
Love that.
very very good at it. And I mean, it was just beautiful. There was also a moment where they they broke into This Land Is Our Land, and the whole sort of crowd were, it was like, we're not going to mention politics or what's going on in the world, but we're going to play this, this classic song about, Woody Guthrie, communism, all of that, and and everyone being together, and that was really beautiful. And then they finished. They sort of done about three encores, and then Dave Rawlings said, "Have we got time for just one more?" And they played White Rabbit, the Jefferson Airplane, free your head, and
Amazing,
it was
man.
just incredible. I was just, yeah, I can't, I they played from they came on stage about 8. They had an interval for 10 minutes, and then finished at about 20 to 11. So they only played for three
Wow.
hours,
Wow, wow, wow.
and they were just, yeah, absolutely stunning, amazing gig, and I just had the best day hanging out with my daughter, who's been at uni for the past 6 7 weeks. So, like you said, catching up and having just a really lovely day and time with people that I care a lot about.
That's beautiful. I feel really love drunk now. I was a little bit tipsy earlier, but now I'm absolutely
Yeah.
sozzled. That's beautiful. Love it. Love
And
it,
it
love
was,
it, love it.
yeah, it was just a really nice start, and I'm on half term, so
Excellent.
I,
And that's the city, wasn't that where I watched it the other day where Monty Python, no, I always say bloody Monty Python. The Full Monty was filmed.
Sheffield.
Yeah, is
Yeah,
it? Yeah,
yeah.
Full Monty was filmed. And the Arctic Monkeys.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a really lovely city, and with the drive from Sheffield to Manchester through the peaks,
Oh,
uh,
the Snake Pass.
that's it. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
absolutely stunning.
I drove that once a little bit. Oh, I was a little bit
Worse for
baked.
wear.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's back in the formative years, and
yeah.
in a white transit van of other vans you can choose to drive, um, along Snake Pass. It was very wet, very windy, and I felt a little bit out of my depth driving at the point.
Yes. Yeah, yeah,
I was
yeah.
going from Sheffield up to Manchester.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a diagonal pass, isn't it? And it goes
Yeah.
through all these like you got like sheep
Yeah.
right on the like the verge next to you in the sort of yeah, all of that vibes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Pretty beautiful.
It's stunning. It's stunning.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was really lovely. Just yeah, it was just a really, really beautiful day.
Lovely. Well, that's great. So shall we commence um should we do what we're gonna do? Should we do it?
Yeah, yeah, let's do
Yeah.
it.
So we got to pick a letter.
You've got Piccolo. Well, it's G, isn't it? G?
G.
Yeah, we did forgiveness last week.
G for galvanized,
Galvanize. Okay.
maybe. G for uh what else could G be? Could be a lot of things. Okay, let me get a list up. I've actually got it in front of me, kind of, but I haven't opened it yet. I am half prepared.
That's a lot more than we normally are. So,
Mm, okay. What letter does G come after? Okay, ready?
yeah.
Gonna read them out. So, gratitude's been done. It's been red lined. Okay, well, that was on the first round. Okay, so grief.
Mm.
That could be two versions. It could be stop giving me grief, mate, or I'm experiencing high levels of grief right now, and I need to just have some time and space to, oh, you know, gather my thoughts. Guilt, generosity, gentle, gluttony. Oh, Christmas is coming up. Greed.
hmm
Christmas is coming up.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the same thing, really, isn't it? Gluttony, greed.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Would you say? I don't know.
Is gluttony just around food?
I don't
Or
know.
can you be gluttonous about other things?
I think you can be gluttonous about anything. Can you not? I
Thanks.
don't know. Gracious. I love that word. It's beautiful. Kind of one of them words that really feels like what it's saying.
Yeah.
gracious, you know, good natured,
Hmm.
like that, good natured, and grandiose. I love that word as well. It's really, again, sounds like what it's sort of saying.
Yeah.
Grandiose. Is that how you say it?
I very rarely say it, but
Say it.
grandiose.
Yeah. But you got to say it with a grandiose.
Grandiose.
Grandiose. Okay. I wonder where that word comes from. It's a bit of a, doesn't look like a, anyway, I reckon it should be more than that.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay.
That's it. I feel like we need to maybe dive back in and add some more to this list. But we've got plenty of time. We've got plenty of laps, man. So, grief, guilt, generous, gentle, gluttony, greed, gracious, good natured, grandiose.
It's,
As me just spitting out
yeah, yeah.
some
It's,
bars there. I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go grandiose.
okay.
Just because I like saying it. All right, I'm gonna go with it. Grandiose. It's the one that I feel is touching me. I don't know why. It's almost like it's coming out of the page and it's grabbing hold of me. This could be the episode where I absolutely
Lose it. You've turned into some sort of
completely fall
lyrical
apart.
gangster.
Yeah. Um, we talked about the network the other day, didn't we?
Yeah.
If anyone's not seen it, it's a
See it.
brilliant film from the 1960s, is it? 70s.
70s, I think.
Excellent, excellent film. Oscar. Won an Oscar, didn't it?
I'm not sure.
Don't know. So, Ben, tell me,
Yeah.
tell everyone listening. Grandiose,
Yeah.
grandiosity. What does it mean to you?
What does it mean to me? Um, totally over the top. Um, I'm going straight to Emperor's New Clothes, is my
Oh,
feeling of grandiose. That's what it makes me think of. Uh,
mm,
yeah, people, people whose egos are out of control.
So we've covered raucous, pops out to me. What else? There's a couple. We talk about, I mean, there's a lot of crossovers. There's always going to be crossovers.
Mm-hmm.
Always. Um, because I guess that's life in general is everything is interlinked
Yeah, yeah.
in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a honeycomb, you know? Everything's just
Just full of bees.
I'm watching a brilliant series narrated by Michael Palin. I
Okay.
love Michael Palin.
Everyone loves Michael Palin.
I think he's like my fave.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like him. I had a bit of a man crush on him. You know, one of them
Yeah.
sort of bro crushes. That I was just like, I really like him. And he's doing this show. He's just narrating it. And his beautiful, calming voice that he's got, engaging voice, and it's on trees.
Oh,
And it mentions the bees and the trees and how they're interlinked. I think I mentioned bees and trees now and again.
maybe.
Maybe. I don't know, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, you know, it's how they're so significant. If we lose bees, we're gonna lose trees.
And if we is it the other way around as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't matter
Uh,
about us humans. We could just fuck off the planet. And if bees and trees would be well chuffed.
I watched an incredible video on a popular social media platform the other day, which was this couple going into this room with a wooden floor, and you could hear the buzz. And they were going like, "You can hear the bees are in here," and they cut a hole in the bottom in the floor and pulled the floorboards up, and there were all these honeycombs stuck to it. and there's just like this huge bee's nest.
Wow.
And she put the suit on, obviously to protect herself from the bees. But then she said, "Oh, they're really gentle. They're really calm. They don't mind what we're doing." And so she took the
Yeah.
suit off, and they were just literally harvesting, taking these huge honeycombs that attach these floorboards out. It was incredible.
Wow. Yeah, they're 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 on it, man. Bees.
They're well grandiose, these bees. That was like the most grandiose beehive I'd ever seen. It was huge.
That's yeah. There is a grandiosity to the existence of. Like I was learning about the trees. You know, the redwoods are the biggest. I mean, did you know it's 3 trillion trees in the world?
I hadn't thought about it, but I imagine that sounds about right. It was
I don't
probably,
I don't know how. Just during someone a curator actually went round. During Michael Palin went round,
yeah,
he's
yeah,
counted them all.
yeah, yeah. I'm just, oh God, I've lost count.
It's
Yeah.
part of his contract. But and there's 70,000 different types of trees.
Okay.
But redwoods are the biggest. Do you know that they can grow up to the size of the Empire State Building, which blew my mind.
Yeah, there's so last year I went to the New Forest and they've got a couple of them in there and they are huge.
What,
Absolutely.
redwoods?
Yeah, they've got a couple of redwoods.
I know they had them. I only know this because it says on the show. That's why I love watching stuff like this. I learn, man. West coast of Scotland,
Have they?
they've got them as well. Yeah. Where in what the New Forest?
Yeah, yeah, they've got a
Are you
couple of
sure
bush.
they're
Yes.
redwoods?
Yeah.
Bloody
And
hell.
like I went on this, yeah, we went on this walk and there was definitely uh yeah, that was one of the things of the walk is you had to go and find the redwoods.
Oh no way. I'd like to go and
Um
find that. Let me know where it is. Oh, actually, don't. Just tell me roughly where you got to go, and I'll find it. Um. So look, I'm just looking up in the Book of Words
yeah.
what it says. All right. So, do you feel you're clear? What you said it is? Do you feel that that's what it is?
Um I feel like, look, there you go. There's a picture of it. Look, it's huge.
Did you take that?
Yeah, that's my sister hugging it.
Tree hugger. Okay. Yeah. Wow. So they grow up to I think 8 meters wide.
Yeah, I mean
Oh
they
my
are
God.
giant.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah. Wow.
Uh,
Centerpiece. It's the
there you go.
centerpiece.
Yeah, New Forest. I can't remember which bit of the
Right.
New Forest it was, but you can go exploring.
Okay. So that is the grandiose tree within trees
Yeah.
in the New Forest in Hampshire in
Yep.
the United Kingdom.
Hmm.
Anyone could be bothered to go and look. I'm definitely gonna go. Right, I'm trying to find it in the Book of Words, Ben. Grandiose, yeah?
Yep.
Grandiose.
The other
Right.
thing I'm thinking about
Oh, got it. Right. Go on.
is
Go on.
when when in the late 90s, I moved to London and the guy I moved in with, his parents, uh, his parents bought him a flat or were buying him a flat, and so there was a period of time where we were going to flat viewings together to yeah to scope out places to live. And I remember going to this flat, and I think it was in Kensington, and it was a basement flat. And I remember walking in, and there was a woman who was probably 70s, 60s, 70s. I mean, she was sort of she looked like she'd had a life, and she was dressed head to toe in leopard skin, very tight lycra, which left very little to the imagination. As I said, she was sort of gold lame heels, and she was a
I've,
proper
I-
character.
I've got a very clear image right now in my
Yeah,
head.
and the flat kind of was a representation of her. It was like this basement flat. It was like walking into some sort of steamy boudoir, and everything like shag pile carpets and gold leaf on the walls. And I mean, it was, yeah, it was quite a place. uh yeah, that and I don't know why, but that's making me think of Grandiose as
Oh,
well.
hang on, I want to land on this a minute, right? Because this sounds like a really cool place to just hang out for a minute, right? What was you doing in there? You said about you was looking for an apartment to
Yeah,
rent.
so yeah, well, no, this the my flatmates
Are you sure
parents
you two went up something
had
else?
come into a lot of money, and they were buying him a flat in London at that time,
Right.
which wasn't quite as obscene as it sounds now. Like
Yeah, yeah,
back then, it wasn't. It was still a lot of money, but it wasn't stupid. Like it would be, I don't know, 6, 7 times the amount we probably spent
yeah,
or he
yeah.
spent. But yeah, so we went round. I think I only did it once with him because it was his flat, so he was the one that was choosing. It wasn't. It was nothing to do with me really. I was just being nosy. But yeah, we went to this flat in Kensington. It was a basement flat, and I just remember being shown around by this fairly elderly lady.
And was she the current owner of it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Not the she wasn't like the agent.
No, no, she was the owner, and it was yeah, it was yeah, quite an incredible manifestation of this woman's tastes and life experience.
How old was you then at that time
Oh,
in
I
your
would have
life?
been about 21, 22.
So if that was you now, do you, I mean, my first thought of this is I want to know more. Like, who is this woman? What's her life been?
Mm-mm.
What, I'd love to know her origin story, her backstory of what
Yeah,
her
yeah.
life was to live in Kensington, to wear like what sounds like Rod Stewart outfit.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? I'm thinking Kenny Everett now.
Yeah.
Some weird, that Kenny Everett spoof of Rod Stewart. You remember that, where his
Yeah.
freaking arse started getting bigger and he started taking off the ground. Do you
It
remember
definitely
that?
had that vibe to it. Definitely had that sort of, yeah. Uh
I've got to look that up now because that's got to be out there somewhere.
it had that sort of 80s decadent vibe to it, which is
Grandiose.
really grandiose. Yeah.
Okay. I like this. I like this input. This is nice. That's a sprinkle of spice right there. Okay. So look, I've got grandiose. Yeah.
Hmm.
Very large
Very large.
or ambitious. Well, very large or ambitious. And then it goes on to say, especially in a way which is intended to impress.
Hmm.
So there is like that grandiosity.
Do you think that's what redwoods are doing? It's like we are the biggest trees out there.
They're flexing it.
They're
Yeah.
flexing it. We're like the
Uh,
biggest. I'm an I'm an American tree. I'm just going to grow as big as anything.
well, there's kind of like, it's quite symbolic. Like, I remember the first time I went to the United States of America and I went into, and anyone that's listening from America or who is American, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this because from as a British person going there for the first time, it blows your freaking mind. The roads are bigger,
Mhm.
the cars are bigger, everything's bigger. Like, and the thing that blew my mind the most was when I went into like a supermarket and the apples, it was the apples that got me.
They are
Th-
bigger as well.
They're like pumpkins.
No.
They're they're massive, man.
Is that why New York's called the Big Apple?
Maybe. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know, man. But any US citizens listening or expats listening from the US, please, I'd love to know what your thoughts are on that. As a non-national going there, it does, it blows your mind because it's everything's bigger. Now, I know someone that's from the US that's over here, they don't want to drive on these roads because they're like, I can't drive on these roads, man. They're too small. That's true. That's true what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Right, grandiose, yeah?
Yeah.
So, are we clear? I mean, we know what it is, yeah. Very large or ambitious, especially in a way which is intended to impress. Okay. So I know what it means to me,
Go on.
right? Pleophora. How do you say that word? Plephora.
Plethora.
Plethora. What does that word mean?
I don't know. Why are you
Oh,
bringing that word
fuck.
in? Why are you bringing another word in that we don't know what it is?
Because I've
Plethora.
used
Isn't it like a lot of? There's a
because
plethora of
I've
cheese.
I've used that as a dovetail with the word grandiosity when I've written,
Oh, okay.
yeah, or when I've articulated what I'm saying, which is a plethora. Go
And
on, what's
abundance.
yeah, abundance of grandiosity, a plethora of grandiosity.
Okay.
Right now, what I mean by that, and it's a double whammy. So it's not
Yeah.
just grandiose on its own, it's not just plethora on its own, it's a plethora of grandiosity. That's what I became.
Double abundant.
Yeah, double big.
Double big.
Now, I didn't do that with food.
Okay.
It was my ego got inflated,
Yeah.
right? So I tell you how?
Uh,
Does
I've,
anyone want to know?
yeah, yeah, we do want to know. I mean,
Okay.
I'm guessing there's some
All right.
Bolivian marching powder involved in some of it.
You know where I was going with that. Yeah. So there's lots of ingredients to create the magic mix of plethora. A plethora. I always want to say plethora. It sounds better.
Plethora.
Plethora. Plethora of grandiose. You know, my plethora of grandiose. Right. So I think we've spoke about this before. I'm pretty sure of it.
Hmm.
So if I'm repeating myself, I'm repeating myself. When you've got a very insignificant amount, so the opposite, when you've got when your sense of self is dwindled, yeah,
Hmm.
okay. It's like a balloon. Let's use a balloon. Think of a balloon, an image of a balloon, right? Could be a hot air balloon, it could be a balloon, party balloon that you blow up and you let the air out and it makes sort of like a little farty noise.
Hmm.
I don't know if that noise is going to translate through that mic. Usually you can't, some noises you can't. Well, I
Yeah,
just did
yeah.
I did a squeak noise if that didn't translate through the mic. Um, if you use that as like imagery of a balloon, right? Um, you know when a balloon is completely deflated,
Yeah.
there's no air in it.
Yeah.
That was my sense of self,
Okay.
right? It was dwindled away. Um, and it was just non-existent, right? So sometimes you've got to blow into that balloon a load of hot air or some air. You got to blow. It's almost like blowing smoke up your own arse,
Okay.
metaphorically speaking. Anyone that's not sure what I'm saying there, if you've not heard of that term, I don't actually mean you've got to blow hot smoke up your bottom.
I mean, that's yeah. Logistically, it sounds quite tricky.
Yeah, I'm sure somewhere on the internet there's some videos of people doing that
Yep. Yep.
whilst clenching their ankles.
Okay.
Um, Is that the right word? Clench? I mean, grabbing, holding
Grabbing their
onto.
ankles.
Yeah,
They might be
grabbing their
clenched. They
ankles.
might be clenching something else, but
Yeah,
let's.
whilst having hot smoke blown up their ass.
Okay.
But I'm not talking about that, right? Forget about them videos you may have seen of that stuff. I've not
Right.
seen any myself, but I'm sure they're out there. What I mean is, you gotta, when you,
Sometimes like it just feels like Ronnie Corbett. You start a story and you like, I'm going to veer off here for like a few minutes,
I
and I'm
don't
going to veer
know,
off here.
I don't know, maybe subconsciously I have taken on his
Yeah,
demeanor.
you're sitting in the big leather chair, and
Is he
you're
the,
just
is he the little one? Or
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Do you not remember? He used to sit in the chair and tell a story, and it just used to go on for hours because he could
Yeah.
never stay on topic.
Right. So, oh yeah, I used to love that. I used to watch
Yeah,
that around my bro will know what I'm talking about, and I know my bro listens. So, Paul, you know what I'm talking about. We used to sit round Grandad's up in Burton-on-Trent and watch the Corbetts.
nice.
I used to love it.
Hmm.
It's just amazing. And eat penguins. Anyway, the as in the little biscuits.
Just in case people thought that you had turned into Ozzy Osbourne and were eating live birds.
You never know. I've gone so off so many branches now that I'm completely lost. Let me try and find my way back. Right, Hound. So I was talking about um,
Being a
fuck.
deflated balloon. Like you had
Deflated balloon.
no air in you.
Yes. So when you've got a very like when I had talk about me, when I had zero confidence,
Hmm.
belief of myself, of who I was, when I didn't feel great about myself, and I felt really insecure within myself, body image, how I looked, how I perceived myself. Some people might call it body dysmorphia. I had that hypersensitivity, which I've talked about a million times on here. I was hypercritical. I was my own judge, jury, and executioner. I was just really hard on myself.
Hmm.
Didn't value myself very much. It's really hard to have a sense of self when you feel like that. All right. So I don't know about anyone else, but I know what I did. Right. It's really hard to continue to navigate your life and the world that you live in when you feel like that. It's really hard. It was really hard for me to do that. Now, I also automatically, of course, had to find coping strategies to deal with that sense of lack of self, of who I thought I wasn't or was. It was really discombobulating. I always say that word. I love it. It's hard. So I latched onto certain coping habits and behaviors and thoughts and things that could equip me to deal with my life at that time. And that time lasted it was quite a long period of time that I had to live like that, you know?
Hmm.
It was a long time, decades, plural, that I had to live like that until I learned how not to live like that because it was at my detriment, right? It didn't really get me anywhere. Or it did, it kept me alive and I was able to endure. And one of those strategies is to blow air to inflate my balloon. So
Hmm.
it feels like it's able to face the world, right? And that's where the grandiosity comes from. Now, the ego, it's the ego, right? When I don't know who I am, who the fuck am I? Who is David? Who's Dave? So I'll be whatever the hell you want me to be at any given point. Oh, you want me to do that? I'll do that. Yeah, you want me to go and be that? I'll be that. So, um, a plethora, I prefer plethora, I'm going to say plethora. A plethora of grandiosity was built. I created this sense of grandiosity. And I think narcissism is a trait. I know what it's like to be a narcissist because I've shown narcissist traits through what I'm describing. 100%. I know that. And you're right, the Colombian doesn't have to be, there are other places you can buy very good cocaine. Doesn't have to come from there,
Most of it does though.
but it helps. Um, that definitely fuels that air that I'm blowing into my balloon. And do you know what? It doesn't just blow the balloon up, it lifts off to a whole new level. Sorry if I've just longed that one out. I lost my thread a bit and I managed to find it, but that's pretty much what I was trying to say. That's my understanding of grandiosity, grandiose.
So would you say so? For me, in terms of, I really get that sense of uh, having a very low self-esteem, having a very low sense of self, having very little idea of who I am. And for me, it was about I would lose myself in other people. So whether that was friendships or whether that was romantic relationships, I think I would take on the traits and the personalities of people that I was close to.
Hmm.
That's how I sort of got away with this very little sense of self, very little uh any idea that I was good enough, that there was anything grandiose about me. I never, was able to build up that level of confidence without having someone else to be the sort of figurehead, if you like. And I could always just be there and just behind. I could be the wingman. So, do you think, in your experience, that you got to a point where you were the figurehead? Do you think that there was like, do you think you got to a point where your inflated sense of self, what you were confident enough? Yeah, I'm more than good enough because I feel that about myself.
Yeah, definitely 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was it wasn't real. It was a false sense of grandiosity. It was a false sense of self. And that's the ego telling me that I'm the bollocks. There's a lot of characters. We can't possibly name them, but I mean, there's one that stands out above all of them. And if you ask him, what's the thing you like the most about yourself? He say, I can't give you one. There's too many. And that's like, is that just I've heard that said, I'm just paraphrasing pretty much what I heard that person say. And there's a lot of people that say that sort of stuff. I was one of them probably. But I probably wouldn't have said that because I had this false sense of grandiosity and a false sense of who I think I am, you know. But I'm not sure I could be that bold as to say, yeah, I can't give you one thing I know I'm good at because I'm good at everything. I mean, anyone listening, have you ever heard anyone say that? And if you don't have to know them personally, these could be characters that are out there in the world, public figures, but that are in, they're out there. And is that accurate? Is it real? Is it, or is it just like we always use the term pantomime? It's just all a show. It's a show. It's not. It's a character that people are playing, a role that people are playing. You know, I'm the biggest extrovert you'll ever meet. I go into a room, I'm confident. I walk in, I'll talk to anyone. I've got time for everyone in the room. It doesn't matter who you are, what you are. I'll I'll talk to everyone because everyone is equal. That's how I see it.
And have you always been like that?
Um, mm, no, it's very timid, very shy, very reserved, very introverted. So I am the biggest extrovert, but I'm also the biggest introvert you ever meet, which I think is really common. You don't have to be one or the other, man. You can be both. I am both. I'm a lot in between as well. And so, look, formative years at one, I was the biggest introvert you'll ever meet, and I didn't know how to be extroverted. So I learned certain behaviors and techniques to become the extrovert, to be able to go into a room and go, aha. um, it is you've got to be able to do certain things to get you there, in my opinion. Now, I know what I did, and it involves some chemicals.
Yeah, but once you take those chemicals away, did that mean you've learned the skills because the chemicals have given you a level of training
Maybe,
that,
yeah.
that you can now take forward?
Yeah, because it's blagging. Because I used to when I used to do the hooky salesman game, when I used to do that, I wasn't inebriated in the mornings. There was a patch of sobriety every day between probably the hours of when I'm sort of got in my car and driven to wherever I'm going to at least lunchtime where I wasn't off my crackers. And I was able to walk into a room. Sometimes there was CEOs, or directors of blue chip companies that we were trying to approach and mildly coerce into signing over, you know, their dedication to a contract that would be beneficial to us and them a little bit.
Yeah.
So to be able to do that, you've got to have a bit of front to be able to do that. A bit of pitter patter. A bit. You got to be able to hold yourself because you got to convince people.
Yeah.
People buy from people.
Mm.
Right. And so I was able to develop. Now, part of that might have been a natural personality trait, but it wasn't because when I look back at my formative years, when I was a young child, I was timid, introverted, scared, insecure, didn't feel confident. Timid is the best word.
Okay.
I was meek.
And what age would you say that changed?
Mm. When you've been battered by life enough, bullied by not just people, but when life feels like it's battering you enough, you either break or you become stronger and you become more resilient and more you endure. The more you endure, the more you become a survivor of your experience. And the more you do that, the tougher you become. And the tougher you become, the harder the exterior. I'm not going to be broken anymore. I can't be broken. It's that elastic rubber band thing. I kept snapping my elastic rubber band. I kept tying knots in my elastic rubber band, and I was very good at tying the knots.
Yeah.
And then you remove all the chemicals and become change your lifestyle, and you have that aha moment of like, oh, okay, like I do it without all that, and I do some therapy, and I do a journey of recovery and go on a proper journey of self-discovery of the who am I without all of that stuff that was there before. You learn to do it in a different way. And some of that stuff that I learned and taught myself to survive, I use now for good. And some of it is still I use to this day to live my life. It serves me.
So was there ever a point where you uh where the chemicals stopped and the confidence went again? Was there ever a point where you thought, oh, there a level of timidness is coming back?
Yeah, it's a vulnerability.
Yeah.
There's a rawness to, you put down that most people, I'm gonna dare to say most people listening will be using something to be able to walk into a room.
Still. Still, you think even people that have
I'm not talking about chemicals here.
no no
Maybe,
no
maybe that is chemicals. And when I say chemicals, I'm talking about a couple of sherbets. And when I'm talking about a couple of sherbets, I'm talking about maybe it's a pint or a glass of wine or a little spritzer, just to get you a little bit, take the edge off, right? And there's nothing wrong with that necessarily. Only you know whether that's something you have to do with every life situation to get you through. And if it is, maybe there is something to look at. Because there is another way of doing it. I've proven that to myself. So I know what I'm talking about. But everyone's different. And it's up to you what you do. But you don't have to do that. But I guarantee that everyone, when people walk into a room, and maybe it's a situation where you've got a job interview, or you've got to go and see someone who you've never met before in person, or it's meeting someone you haven't seen in a long time that you've got to go and meet, and there's some nerves and there's some apprehension and there's a bit of fear, especially in post-COVID lockdown period where everyone developed what felt like, even me, a sense of social anxiety. So to be able to front that stuff, I guarantee everyone is using something. to aid them in their efforts to do it.
Okay, so what do you use?
I don't use cocaine anymore. I don't
No,
use alcohol anymore.
no.
I don't use any mind-altering substance because I don't. I haven't done it for years. So I use my breath.
Okay.
If I'm honest, I use my breath.
So when was the last time you went to a situation where you were like, I don't feel entirely comfortable with this?
All right, look. So I don't know. I can't think, man. Let's have a think. Let's have a think. Maybe I don't know. I can't think. Oh, honestly, it's hard to think because I just do it on autopilot now. I don't really have to consciously think. I'm talking about breathing. What I mean by breathing is I've learned how to regulate my nervous system,
Hmm.
which is what is not cooperating with the thoughts and the narratives that we get caught up in that are telling us don't do something because there's some fear there or apprehension or anxiety or intrepidation. And the body has a reaction to that narrative. And the nervous system is part of that. It's in cahoots without thinking. And it gets activated, and then we get, increased heart rate, and we get all jittery. And for some people, including myself, I had to reach out and grab something to change that and to
Hmm.
regulate it. You know, I learned at a very young age to be able to walk into a party. I've got to sink a 2 litre bottle of cider. There are other 2 litre bottles you can down and then yak my guts up in the street and then go into the party and act like I'm Batman. Do you know what I mean? But so I talk about my breath, it's breathing, breathing. Just learning to be able to take a breath and breathe and to know that I can control and regulate my nervous system and my body. I don't know if that translates what I've just done. I've just taken a breath and blown out, a good sigh of relief. Drop the shoulders. My solar plexus needs to relax. Everything needs to just slow down, not be caught up in my head. What my head's telling me. It's okay. I can do anything. It's all good. Take a breath. Space and time. I've said that before.
Deflate the balloon.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. I like that. Exactly that. We don't need to have a blown up balloon all the time. Why do we think we need to have a blown up balloon? Maybe it's so we can be seen.
Yeah, yeah.
My balloon's bigger than your balloon. It's okay to let the air out your balloon. I love that, Ben. That's amazing. That's a really good analogy now. I like that. Let out your, do a big fart. Do a big nervous fart. Be
Okay.
careful
Yep.
what happens after.
Hmm.
Got to be discerning to whether it will follow through. But just metaphorically speaking, do a big balloon fart
Hmm.
and let your air out. Drop your balloon, deflate it. You don't have to have it inflated all the time. I love that. How is this relating to you, man?
Yeah, I mean, I don't like, I can honestly say that I've never had a point where I've managed to build my ego up enough to have that level of confidence.
You obviously haven't done enough cocaine.
No. And and yeah, I don't think I've ever been at a point where I've been like, yeah, I'm the nuts. I've always had this uh sense of I'm not good enough. And I think for me, I know of because I've been told this before. What it I think what it translates into for me is that I end up appearing quite aloof and quite arrogant because my external self is like, right, I'm in protection mode here. So I'm going to be a bit back from everything else. So I think for me, that's how I protected myself. I've never been the person that can walk into a room and just start chatting to everybody and just yeah and I think that's come as I've got older because I tend to be in more situations where I'm in control or I have a certain authority, I guess, especially in a professional life. But even then, I feel very much like I'm ahead of school. I go to places meetings and there are other head teachers there, and I always assume that they're older and wiser and better and stronger than me, sort of thing. I just sort of think, well, I'm ahead of school of a small behaviour school. It's not like a massive comprehensive secondary or anything. So there's always an inferiority. There's always, yeah, I'm not quite as good as the people around me. And so I think I tend to let other people dominate.
Can I ask you, why do you feel you're beneath these other people? Where's that come from?
Um,
Because it's inaccurate, you know that. That's a false narrative you're telling yourself or you have told yourself. I don't know if that still happens, but it's bullshit and it's not real.
yeah,
So
yeah.
where's it come from?
Where's it come from? Um, I know it comes from. I know where it comes from. It comes from a childhood where we we existed as a family in a space in our own spaces. We all did our own things, and I don't think we were ever very good as a family at uh, seeing one another or showing one another what was really going on. And my father is a has a career or had a career where he was very successful at what he did. He was revered and lauded by lots of people in his industry. At the peak of his sort of fame within his industry. He's still. I mean, still now there's stuff about him on the internet and people collect the projectors and things that he made as a as a lighting guy. So he's very renowned. I went
He's
to
a laser legend.
yeah. No, he didn't do lasers. He'll get very upset if you call them lasers.
Oh,
Um,
projector.
projectors and yeah, it's all very analog and it's beautiful. I mean, it's all liquid 60s, 70s psychedelic light shows, and it is stunning, and he's very good at it. Um, but I guess we were brought up in a household where he was away a lot and he was doing what he did a lot. And people, if we went out with him, we tended to go to places where there were other people that he worked with and or associated with. And so he was always, I guess, the center of attention. And as a household, I know that I spent most of my time in my room,
Hmm.
and my door was shut, and my music was on very loud,
Yeah.
and I would just sit in there and I would make. I would draw and I would make and create and do stuff, and that was sort of my outlet, and uh, it was never done in a way. Um, it was never done for like plaudits. I don't know. I could never sort of go like, yeah, I can do this and it's really good
Yeah.
and sell myself, I guess.
Yeah. It makes sense. You become a shadow artist because you're an artist.
Yeah, yeah.
You're not just a head teacher.
No,
I don't
no.
see you as a head teacher anyway, right? I see you as, if I went to your school, I wouldn't see, I'd say, I'd be like, you're just an artist, mate. And that's what makes you a great head teacher because you're creative. Now I think you've got the edge on all them other heads because you are creative. Now, unless they're creative in their own way, now I'm sure they are, everyone is creative, but you are like an artist. You're an artist, right? And that's kudos to you, man. I'm telling you, you've got the edge on them. Um, and in my opinion, it's just the way I see it. And the fact that you're not in mainstream, boxed, traditional, um, academic setting schools, you're even that alone is awesome. It's maverick. It's it's anarchic. I love it. You're ahead of anarchy. I love it, and that makes you a better person in my view. Um, I'd I'd probably freaking just be so bored of being in the company of all these other head teachers, unless proven otherwise.
Yeah, yeah, I get
Because
that. I get that.
you're fellow artists, man. They're fellow creators. They're my kind of people, man. And I've worked with a lot of, I know, and I've got friends, but I've also worked with a lot of people who are shadow artists, not just the main artist, which I know and friends of and have worked with. I there's this like, the term shadow artist because you've done the book The Artist's Way by Julie
Hmm.
Cameron, which we've talked about before, and it covers the shadow artist on in that book. And for anyone that's listening and doesn't know what we're talking about, go and check out the book. It's called The Artist's Way. And it talks about the dynamic of what the shadow artist is. And it's the person that didn't quite feel able to take center stage and be, you know, the redwood tree. Couldn't quite blow enough air up its passage
It's trunk.
trunk, to get the balloon inflated enough to go above and, and be seen. It just felt it had to make itself small for whatever reason. The shadow
Yeah,
artist. Do you feel
yeah,
that? Do you feel that's what's happened?
yeah. I think, and I think you're right in that sense of I don't ever feel like I fit. So, like you said, I sit in a room with quite conventional head teachers, and I see my viewpoint as quite different.
Good. That's
And
brilliant.
it's having that courage of conviction to say, yeah, actually, I think my way is right. And I guess the higher up you go, what I've seen is the safer people are. The pressure is such that you're not inclined to take risks because you want it to be done a certain way, and it's sort of like, well, this is the conventional way of doing things, this is the safe way of doing things, this is how things have always been done, so this is what we're going to do. And
Bore off.
and I
Sorry.
think that's I think that is the struggle I find is that the more there's less mavericks the higher up you get. If you like, I really, I think I've said this before, but I really hate the term outsider artist because it's outside of what? Outside of the norm, outside the conventions, outside of the mainstream. It's
Mm,
like you're an artist, full stop. You're a
mm.
creator. You make stuff. What are you doing it for? Are you doing it for you because it makes you feel good and it nourishes your soul, or are you doing it because you want to sell a million records? You want to make, you want the big house and the car and the the fancy partner. What if that's mainstream? So you see these people that have like turn their gardens into sculptures because, and they've been collecting trash for like 40 years and melting it into some strange substance. They then build these incredible, incredible sculptures in their gardens. And you're like, why is that less relevant than Damien Hirst painting, a load of spots on a canvas and selling it for £4 million? It's, you know, you're either an artist or you're not. And I think if you're if you have integrity, if you have a reason for doing something that isn't about doing it for material gains, it isn't about, oh, if I do this, I'm going to get this. You're doing something because it makes you feel good. And I think that's the difference. And I think the more I work in establishments, the more I see how the sort of wheels of power turn. You see people are dealing with such big pressures that they are so inclined to go, yeah, we'll just carry on doing it like everyone else has done it before. Because if we rock the
Safe.
boat, then things are going to get really difficult, and it might go wrong.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
might, but it might also be better.
Yeah. 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 Innovation is unlikely when you keep everything safe.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think you've got to have a lot of courage to do that.
Mm,
To go, actually, this is what everyone else is doing, but I'm just going to do what I want to do.
mm,
And that's not in a, sod everyone else. I'm just gonna
uh,
ignore it and not yeah, and not be bloody minded about it. But it's just like, this is what I want to do. If someone else likes it, great. If someone doesn't, then that's also okay.
yeah. Well, I feel like um screw the school system.
Yeah, that'll work.
Um my dad, um he was a maverick. He said it. I've said this before, I'm sure of it. I'm positive. Head teacher all his life.
Hmm.
He said to me, we're not too dissimilar in how we see things, He's a maverick. He always wanted to challenge the norm of what was possible in what he was doing as a head teacher. And he realized he'd put all his life into it and all his energy and focus. And I remember, I've said this before, if he had his time again, he's not sure he would go into doing teaching in the traditional sense because he felt he was up against it. Too many roadblocks.
And
T-
robots.
And robots and roadblocks. Yeah, exactly. And it's really hard when you're a maverick. I have the same thing with what I'm doing in my life. I'm constantly having to disrupt and challenge the status quo because we are living in a phenomenon, an extraordinary time where there's never been more narcissist, robotic, bland, generic, uniformed mentality, numpty Herberts existing in certain realms, which I'm met with at times. And I've got to navigate that shit like jellyfish in the ocean.
Mhm.
Don't want their tentacles to fucking sting me, So I have to just, you know, be cautious because they're out there. And my guiding compass, my authenticity, integrity, the honesty that for which I conduct myself, and I wish to only collaborate with people who share those qualities. And they're out there. You're one of them. We have to stick together because these narcissists, this grandiosity that comes from people that have blown smoke up their ass from their own mouths. Can you imagine that? How that works? Can only imagine you have to grab your ankles and somehow hook your head around enough to be able to do it. That's an image for you, Ben.
Thanks.
If anyone's wondering, Ben looks horrified right now.
Well, people are still searching the videos from last time you talked about it. So
Or you got all your little minions that are blowing that smoke up your ass. You ain't got to do shit, and and you're the big balloon, man. You're the big cat on the, you're the big balloon. You're the redwood, and you believe it. You believe it. You believe the hype. Believe the hype. And we do. I feel like the technology, and we always thread this one in. It breeds it. We've got we it breeds it. We're cloning each other unless you're a free thinking person that can think for yourself and not be a sheep and just live how you want to live and be how you want to be without the need to have your balloon inflated all the time.
yeah, it's a really fine line for me between that sort of that level of confidence and that level of arrogance. That where you want to be healthily liked.
Mm.
You want people to say, "Yep, I agree with what you're saying," or "I like what you're doing. I like your energy. I like, if you're an artist in some way, I like the song you've written. I like the book you've written. I connect with that. You are, any piece of artwork for me is a form of communication, and so if you are communicating, you want feedback, but you're also in that sort of really fragile position. If the feedback is, yeah, that's not very good, I don't really like that, you're a bit rubbish, then you're automatically going to shrink back into yourself and go, right, well, I'm not going to bother doing that again because that really hurts. So it's being able to say, I know I'm good enough, I know what I'm doing is good enough. If someone else wants to connect around that, fantastic. If people don't, that's also okay. And to reach that level of sort of balance and sort of emotionless sort of ability to just go, yeah, it's easy come, easy go. I've, I don't, well, I know I haven't reached that any time yet. But it's something that I sort of aspire to. That's where I want to be. I want to be confident enough to go, it's okay. It's okay for you to say you like me. It's okay for you to say you don't like me. That
Mm.
that is you. That's not me.
Mhm.
And that's where this sort of grandiose, ego driven sort of world, it's like we lose that ability to value ourselves without being valued by other people.
Mhm.
And it's a really difficult fine line to tread because it's just not very easy. It's not very easy to have the courage of your convictions and to be, for me, definitely for me, I find it really hard uh to see how I can do that all the time. I have to step away. I have to really work hard to go, it's okay, you don't like me, that's fine. It's okay, you do like me. That doesn't make me a good person, and you not liking me doesn't make me a bad person.
Mhm.
I know I'm doing the best that I can. I'm in control of what I do. That's it.
Mm.
I'm not in control of anybody else's reactions. Um, but I also have that inner child that's crying out for someone to go, yeah, we love you. You're amazing. You're the best. Look at that. Oh yeah, you're the greatest artist ever.
Mm.
And I think a lot of people have that. A lot of people have that desire to be loved by as many people as possible.
Especially a lot of these. I love what you just said, and I really relate, and it's true, and it's really on point, and it's really relevant what we're talking about in relation to what we the subject. Um, White male man, right?
not just a male, a male man.
A male man, white in
We're not
color.
talking about someone that posts letters in people's boxes either.
No. Um, I'm going stereotypical here. This is what's come up for me is these what are they called? Octave. Oh, what's the name for someone that's like 80 something? Octave.
I
I've,
can't say it.
Damon Albarn.
Octogenarian.
I've heard Damon Albarn say something, and he was really brilliant at saying, the problem is we've got too many of them that have got too much to say, that there's too many. And I'm not talking about we need to wipe out anyone who's over 80, who's like a white male guy, because that's not what I'm saying. But what I think I'm saying, what I think Damon was suggesting is that when you give them too much control or power or you know and they're put in the wrong places and they've managed to be positioned in certain and they've got certain roles to play. They're not always. I'm not saying they're senile. What I'm trying to say is right, so
That was a big sigh.
I'm just practicing what I preach. I just feel
Okay.
like I need to just slow it down, breathe, relax, calmly say what I need to say
Okay.
because I'm passionate and I don't want to get bent out of shape over what I'm trying to deliver here because it's important what I'm saying. And it's only my opinion and the way I see it, and I'm sure I'm not alone. And I'd love to hear other people's viewpoints on this. But historically, there's a lot of evidence. I'm sure I'm repeating myself here. There's a lot of evidence that suggests that where we're going wrong in the world is that there's too much yang energy in the world. It's out of balance, right? Toxic testosterone.
Hmm.
Man, mainly white. I'm white and I'm a man, but I'm saying it about exactly what I am. I'm not exempt from that. I can be this if I choose to be. But
Hmm.
my formative years, I displayed some of what I'm talking about. So it's accountability. And there's no one, this is the problem. There's certain people, the people that I'm talking about have no accountability. It's like they've got this little club. It's like a little gang, a little posse. I don't know. I can't even put my finger on it. I can't say it's these people, it's these people. I just know they're out there.
Hmm.
It's evident. Look at history. This is the problem. We keep fucking repeating it. Is this just the way it's meant to be? And we just have to get on with it and suck it up. But it's when you've got these, and let me just finish this, right? You've got these fools. I'm going to call
Hmm.
them fools. Fools. Fools that have a lot of intelligence, but they're fools. Because intelligence and a good education and a good position in life, and maybe some of that's privilege and entitlement, doesn't equate to wisdom. It doesn't equate to empathy. It doesn't equate to kindness. And the common trait that they all share and behold, which I relate to because I had to work on this, is they've not healed their inner child.
Hmm.
They're broken, coming from a trauma response, insecurities. And what do you do when you feel like that? Well, I shared about that earlier. You've got to find ways to inflate your balloon to become the redwood.
Healthier ways to inflate the balloon. Yeah.
And that's the problem we all bear witness to, is we are governed by the wrong people in the wrong positions doing the wrong things. And that's the nature of the beast. And it always has been like that. And maybe it's always going to be like that. So what do we do with that? Look, I'm just, I'm not, it's not a revelation. I'm not just suddenly sharing something that we don't already know. So what do we do with it? Well, this is what we set out to do on the TVR. It's like, do we disrupt and fuck shit up and start to, or do we do the opposite? Do we do what I've just exposed, what I've just talked about? Do we just actually do what these people aren't doing and we do it
Mm.
and we heal our inner child? So we don't have a trauma response reaction to what they're fucking doing because it's cause and effect. And we empower ourselves
Mm.
and we heal ourselves from the inside out. And then we create our own little power ecosystem where we're not dependent and slaves and bitches to these Herberts.
I it
That's
I
that's
was
what I
watching
think. That's what I think anyway.
I was watching a documentary the other night about a certain musician who has got himself in a lot of trouble recently and has been in court and stuff. And he had some very dodgy parties, and I think I don't I don't need to name him. Um,
Was it in that basement apartment in Kensington?
it could have been, yeah. That's how I pictured it. But I was watching it and I was thinking about, you know, he was living a life uh that that he was living a secret life, this shadow life that no one else saw. And I was thinking about it made me think, and stick with me here because this is this might just be my ramblings, but it made me think of the Beastie Boys, because the Beastie Boys, their first album was absolutely what are they called, like the brat, not the brat camps, the sort of frat boys. That was three young white boys doing rap music, talking about girls. There's that track on the album called Girls, only good to do the dishes. It's like really misogynistic, uh really just party silliness, that album. I mean, there's some great music on there, but it is like it's absolute nonsense. And at the time when they had that out, they were touring and there was all this notoriety around them. They had girls in bikinis in cages and inflatable penises, and it was just like teenage boy stuff,
Raucous.
raucous behavior. Yeah, totally grandiose, like the absurdity.
Yahoos.
Yeah, yahoos, all of this. And I'm guessing there's some when you're that young and you get that level of fame, there's gonna be that sort of level of excess. There's
Hmm.
like, how the hell do I handle this? And
Hmm.
and it, but they were also at that point, they were just obviously in it for the partying.
Hmm.
And you can see now with this other guy, he obviously was in it for the partying from the start, and then just it got darker and darker, and he buried it, and whatever else was going on was going on. And and there's so many stories in popular sort of figures of fame and in our culture that have done that, where they've just they've sort of buried this secret past. And like you said, and there's for me, it's more white men that sort of get to this point where they have a certain level of power, and it's like, right, we can live out our sort of teenage fantasies now, but it's all going to be secret and sort of behind closed doors. There was that there was that black tie event for loads of high flying people a couple of years back, where they'd employed loads of teenage girls in short black skirts to be the waitresses, and it's just sick. Just like, it's all just, like you said, we've been run by Herberts. These people are all in high positions of power, and look what they're doing with it. But my thing is about the Beastie Boys is I still don't think I wish they'd own it a little bit more and say, yeah, we were absolute idiots then. They still sort of they sort of gloss over it a little bit for me when you hear them interviewed. But they did. They went on a journey and they grew, you know,
Yeah.
and the next album, Paul's Boutique, is like one of the greatest rap albums ever.
Mm.
And they just got better and better and better, and they got wiser. And
Yep.
you know, they started, you know, they did the Free Tibet concerts. They had
Yep.
humility, they had integrity. They suddenly became everything that was good about music. They were like,
Yeah.
this is, you know, yeah, we were sent. They were still had that lovely, that incredible sort of sense of parody, you know, when they did Sabotage and did the 70s Cops and all that. They
I
had
love
that
that
sense of
video.
fun, yeah. So they didn't lose that, but they sort of did it much more in an adult way. They like grew up, and you know, it's not that we should then write, you know, I don't want them to sort of write them off because they were silly boys at one point in their career. It's like, yeah, you grew,
Mm.
yeah, you were ridiculous at one point. I still love that album. I mean, but it is, you know, there's a lot of question marks over it.
Hmm.
But they grew and they grew as people, and you know, they turned into, you know, cultural icons that they are now. And I guess that's the sort of journey of that sort of that white man that you're talking about. Is, you know, do you get to live out your fantasies as a sort of late teen, early 20s and get it all out your system at that point, and then grow and get better and better and sort of, you know, you know, you find the cause and you're doing good for the world? Or do you just sort of bury that and it becomes like a dark, seedy sort of secret world
Mm.
underneath, and
Yeah.
it's actually become something quite nasty? And you know, and those, like you said, it's not that all 80-year-olds shouldn't have a voice. I don't think Damon Albarn's saying that, but there are a certain type of men that have made it to a certain level of society that haven't done the License to Ill album. They haven't done that period of their life. So there's just like, yeah, we're just going to keep this secret all along. We're going to have the mistress. We're going to have the
Yeah.
high class hookers, whatever it is, the secret cocaine habit, you know. And it's just, yeah, you get to a certain amount of notoriety, a certain amount of privilege and power, and then you're telling other people how to live their lives and how to be without any integrity. That's just me ranting? Sorry, that's just where I'm
No,
at.
no. I think I mean what you're saying is great. And it's your truth. And what I was sharing, my little rant, it's the same. It's just the way I see the world, and it's through the lens that I experience my life is how I feel, and that's okay, and you're doing the same. And anyone listening, maybe you relate, maybe you see it differently. I don't know. So I want to always come up with, I don't want to just say stuff for the sake of saying stuff without backing it up with what I do about it. This is how it makes me feel. This is how life on life's terms is for me. And what do I do with that? Well, anyone that's been listening knows maybe enough about what I've been sharing. I did it one way and it didn't work. So I'm changing it. And this is what I want to, when we discuss this stuff, it's like whatever subject, there are crossovers and there's many takeaways for you, me, and anyone listening, maybe to take away and to reflect on. And, how does this relate to me? How does this affect me? What am I doing about this? Or does it not affect me? And I'm just listening, and yeah, it's great to listen, but it doesn't affect me. Whatever. I don't know how it relates to people, but I know what I do with this stuff. I'm sharing about stuff, and I apply certain practices so that I can sustain a happy sense of well-being, a consistent sense of well-being in a world that is quite challenging because of what we're talking about. When you're met with a sense of inflation, not just in the cost of living, but in characters, personalities, um, a sense of ruling. fools rules. I write about that. I've written about that. That's how I saw school, is it's rules governed by fools. You know what I mean? Sorry, teacher. But,
No,
that's how I saw the world from a young age. It's like, but why? Why do we have to be like it? Why do I have to do this? What? But why? I was always challenging. Um, so,
because I know best.
yeah. What, you know best or I know best?
I mean, yeah, no, I think that. So, what do you think that? Do you think that is it though? Do you think there is like, uh, I know, I know, I feel like I have a good take on the world now, and it doesn't mean I'm not able to be humble with that. But I think like I've not that I've got it all worked out, but I feel like I've got a pretty good take on the world.
I think you have. Yeah, I see you have. Definitely.
So
Well,
if it's like, am I able to be confident with that, or am I? If I am confident with that, and I think this is quite a British thing as well, does that come across as arrogance?
I don't know, man. I mean, one thing I feel like we've got thrown into the mix is a healthy sense of pride in
Mm-hmm.
what we do and how we live. And I think grandiose is an unhealthy sense of pride,
Yeah,
right? Or can be. And I think if you're proud about your decisions that you make and your ideologies and your what you feel you need and want in your life, and you live by that, and you don't, it's a non-negotiable, but you're flexible as well to learn and grow and to be open. Because I think what it comes down to is about being open to change. But I'm open to change if it's, I have to be discerning to if I'm going to be willing to step into that and explore whatever that change may be. It's got to be, it's got to be right. Not just for me, first and foremost, but for the greater good.
yeah,
I don't know if that makes sense what I'm saying.
yeah. No, it does. I think it's a really the grandiose for me is is this sense, an inflated sense of self. It's that big blown up red balloon that we've talked about. You know, that's it, yeah. I'm picturing the balloon from it for some
I'm
reason.
just I'm thinking of Kenny Everett's
You're thinking
arse
Kenny Everett's ass.
in leopard print leggings
Yeah,
taking off.
yeah,
And if anyone's not sure on that, look it up. It'll be
yeah.
on video. I'm going to look it up after we've stopped it.
Absolute, sending up absolute pompous idiots. And I think that's the problem. Is that anybody that has uh, a reasonable take on the world will also have a level of humility to that, which can also be a level of sort of under confidence. It's
Mm.
not, if all the really good people in the world had a really strong sense of what was right and wrong and had that ability to just steamroll over everyone else, then they wouldn't be who they were.
Mm.
And I think
Yeah,
that's, we I think, again, I think we've said this before, but it's not always the loudest voice in the room that is the strongest. And I
yeah,
and I and that's taken me a long time to understand, because we have lived, sorry, I have lived in a world full of strong white men who like to have loud, strong opinions and like to have their voices heard.
mm. Petulance comes to mind.
Yeah, people that haven't grown out of that frat boy
Yeah,
lifestyle.
it's an immature response,
Mm,
petulance,
yeah,
and this is the irony. You got people that have a lot of years under their belt. They've lived a long time. And we live in this culture where it's like, oh, they're really wise then. Because
yeah,
they've got like grey hair and freaking a beard, or they've got grey hair and maybe they've got no hair. You know, but they're old. They're elders, which means they're wise. But, you know, where's the petulance coming from then? The
Yeah.
immaturity, emotional immaturity. You know, you have to earn that. You have to do a
Mm.
bit of work. But when you're focused so much on, you know, I mean, look, you think about it logically, right? Anyone that's in that part of their life right now, not everyone, because if you go to India, look how freaking wise them lot are. You know, some of the elders, not just India, but most, the irony is most cultural places where they haven't got white skin. Yeah. Some of
Hmm.
these are not just men, they're women that are
Yeah.
elders that are living in a primitive way, more primitive. So they're not got caught up and been distracted, and they've not been focusing and putting all their energy into the academic, intellectual part of it all, because they know that everything they need to learn is from nature, not from a fucking book. There you go. It's a passionate fuck, right? And there's some of the wisest people I've ever freaking rubbed shoulders with. And they've got kindness in their eyes. You can see it in their eyes, man. You want to see if someone's legit. Look into their eyes. You see if they're dead in their eyes. Now, I'm not passing judgment here. It's an observation. You know if someone's spirit is genuine. You know if someone's spirit is kind. If there's humility, if there's wisdom. You can tell in their eye. It's the windows to the soul. You can see if their soul is dead. You can see if their soul is being disingenuous. You can see if their soul is not being true to themselves and other people. And whenever I have to look at someone, I cover their face up and just look at their eyes. Yeah, so there's a little window between my hands and to see their eyes, to see if their eyes look dead. Normally, you can tell without having to do that anyway.
Walk around the world with a little
Yeah.
letterbox.
Because if you look at photos of me before I redeemed myself, my eyes were dead. Dead eyes. No one there. Just a head full of fucking grandiosity bullshit. Anyway, do you think we've covered enough of what we think grandiosity is?
I think we have been what was the word? Plethora. We have had a plethora of grandiosity.
We've pumped that baby right up.
Yeah.
It's ready to pop.
We've inflated each other's balloons and
Let's let the air out and have a
let
big
them out. It flies around the room making raspberry noises.
God. If you'd done that last year, not last year, earlier in the year, after your post-op, God, you wouldn't have wanted to attempt to have let any air out then.
No.
'Cause it ended up with what, pebble dashing the whole of the wall.
Oh, that's a beautiful, beautiful thought to end on.
Right, Mr. Rice. Let's close it down, man. Um, how's that for you?
Yeah, that was good. That was good. That was a little bit unexpected as ever in terms of where we go with with the words we choose.
Mm,
But yeah, interesting, interesting. Thank you.
no worries, man. Okay, well, onwards and upwards. So another episode done. Let's keep on trucking.
See you on the next one.
All right, man. Take it easy.
Take care.
See you later.
Bye.